Here's a little update of my node, my AllStar node. It's running off of a Pi 2 in this cool case that's really dusty right now. I need to get a can of air, get that taken care of. But I was noticing that I had this clear, just random cheap case for the Pi originally, and we're in Texas and this thing's in my garage, so the chip was showing temperatures of 140 degrees and stuff, which is probably fine. I don't really know, but I found this case with this little fan on it, and it keeps it at a nice 90 something. Better for it long term. And since it's a black case, I like to see lights flashing, you know. So that's the activity light right there, kind of the heartbeat for the Pi. And so that would be down on the board, you know, it's that small LED. So that's a hot glue stick that I cut to the right length, just so it's acting as a little light pipe, little kind of fiber optic thing, so I can see that activity light on top of that smoke, you know, colored, partially transparent top case. And I just threw a TYT sticker on there. And so this is the same URI, the ARA1 by George, and there is a foam adhesive kind of thing where I've attached it to the Pi. I'd love to get this whole thing in a case, but what are you gonna do? And then here's the radio, the ICOM F621, and it's got an 80mm case fan, just setting it on there. And then down there you can kind of see there's a temperature probe, that little silver thing, and that goes over here into this thermostat relay, and the power for that comes from my 12 volt power supply that's inside this case right here. This place is a mess, sorry, but yeah, it comes from there. All the power comes from there and it goes into here. Actually, it's these posts, and it kicks on when it hits 38 degrees C, which is around 100 something, just to kind of cool this radio back down, since it gets pretty warm, especially when the Trans-Canada net is on and other nets. And it does a great job. Just this fan sitting here doing it, it keeps it down pretty well. Because I mean, this radio is meant to be just passive and it has the fins on it, but it needed that airflow out here in the garage. So it's pretty cool. It's a really cheap unit. And my internet comes out here, like in my last video, through this Ubiquiti Bullet M2 PoE, and then that goes into this little switch. It didn't used to go into the switch. I used to just take a line out of the PoE injector directly into the back of the Pi, but when I redid everything, somehow that didn't work, and so I'm like, I used the same cables and everything. I don't understand what could have happened. It's very, very mysterious. But I'm like, well, let's see what happens if I put a switch in line, just kind of trying everything, and it worked. So this switch isn't really doing anything. It's just taking the internet connection out of here and putting it through a switch to the Pi. It doesn't, that's all it's doing. So yeah. And I had a port go bad too. I used to have it in port 1. I used to use 1 and 2, and now I'm using 2 and 3. It's super old little D-Link switch in this metal case. Hey, it's working. And yeah, like I said in my other video about this, everything was pretty much, that was free. That was really cheap. I bought it a long time ago. This stuff is all cheap. Radio is $40. The Pi was free, and this was $20. And it's all going through an Ed Fong antenna through this duplexer. And I made my own, I interfaced this with the radio myself. I didn't use the OPC 617 cable for it.